Hi friends, this is lesson number 4 on the plays written by William Shakespeare. And today, in this video, we shall discuss another play, a comedy by him, that is Comedy of Errors. Comedy of Errors. Before this play, what we have discussed, Two Gentlemen of Verona, Taming of the Shrew. Both are termed as comedies. But when we go through the plot of these plays, what we see, we do not really see these plays as comedies, because in that period, if the play is having a happy ending, then the play was termed as a comedy. But in this play, you will really enjoy the elements of comedy. Before getting into this play, first we shall discuss what is comedy. This play, in fact, is a perfect example of comedy of action. There are two types of comedies, comedy of manners and comedy of action. For comedy of action, it is commonly said that when the comedy is created through the plot, through a story, that is comedy of action. And remember, here action means the story, the plot. On the other hand, the other type of comedy, that is the comedy of manners, that is created, the comic situation is created through the abnormal behavior of the characters, through their manners. As you can watch Mr. Bean, Charlie Chaplin, such comedies are created through their behavior, their abnormal behavior, their manners. So that is called as comedy of manners. But for comedy of action, remember, the sense of comedy or the humor is created only through the plot. One significant fact about the comedy of action is that you cannot understand the comedy unless or until you know about the plot. Because the comedy, the sense of humor is created through the plot. And if you do not know the plot, then how can you be able to understand the comic elements? And now one more thing about this play. Before you start understanding this play, I recommend you, if you haven't gone through on any sources about this play, I request you that you should go to YouTube and watch a movie, a Hindi movie, that is Angur. This is an old movie. The star cast includes Sanjeev Kumar, Mausami Chatterjee and Devan Verma. So everything of that movie is taken from this play. In fact, there is one more work. I tell you, there is a Bengali novel written by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Remember, a Bengali novel written by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. The name is Bhranti Bilas. Bhranti Bilas. And that novel is also based on this work, that is Comedy of Errors. So far as the plot of this play is concerned, it is much complicated because there are a number of characters and there are duplicates, means twins, double roles, as we see in the Bollywood movies. The same thing is here. So it will be a bit difficult for me every time to tell you that which character it is. So I'll try my best. On the screen you can note down these names. Just try to understand the roles of these characters. From the movie Angur, which I have told you, from that movie you can understand the main plot line, how the things will go. But to understand, to relate the things to the respective characters, you have to watch this video. So we are now starting this play. Okay, one more thing, that this play observes the unity of time, the principle given by Aristotle. He talks about the unity of action, time and place. Critics believe that William Shakespeare has observed the unity of time in this play. How? Aristotle says that if there is any play, a tragedy or whatever, it should be finished within the single round of the clock. Means the action has to be limited up to 24 hours, nothing more than that. And this play, in the real timeline, this play ends within 24 hours. I'm not talking about the performance time. The performance time may be 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe so. But the timeline in the play, it is about just a single day, maybe across one night, but not more than one day. And apart from this, the two major elements of comedies in this play are, one is slapstick and other is mistaken identity, as there is double role. I told you that twins are there. So every time you see that one character is assuming the other as the different one. And a slapstick, it is actually a device that is used by the comic characters, especially stock characters use this because they have to produce only fun. And these are the two pair of woods. And most of the time, whenever they want to produce some sort of a humor, they strike these two woods together and the sound is produced that is much like a slap. So that is why it is termed as slapstick. Now one more thing, as there are some literary elements, buffoonery. This is also considered as a major element in this comedy, buffoonery. And mostly it is considered as a ridiculous behavior. Ridiculous in some sense, but amusing as well. Amusing to the audience. Anyway, so these are the number of points which I have talked to you. So now we come straight to the plot. In the beginning, we are told that there are two cities, Syracuse and Ephesus. Syracuse or Syracuse, however you may pronounce these old names. Now, between these two cities or countries, you may consider, there is enmity, there is rivalry. So no one from any of these countries is allowed to enter into the other country. So there is no exchange of goods or of the people between these two cities or countries, however you may take. Okay, we take them as cities. And in the city, mostly we have a duke sort of person, mayor sort of person. So we have one name, that is Solinus. Solinus. He is the duke of the city Ephesus. And one more thing, the same method we shall apply here as well. We shall take the characters as they appear on the stage. So we are introduced to the character, the name is Aegeon. Aegeon. He is a merchant from the city Syracuse. So now even on the screen you see there are two columns. The first is of Syracuse and other is of Ephesus. So from the city Syracuse, the character appears on the stage. The name is Aegeon. And he actually is now roaming in the city, that is Ephesus. So he has broken the law because no one is permitted from Syracuse to enter in Ephesus. So Aegeon is caught by the security guards or the police and they take him to the duke. Then he will be given a death punishment. How illogical it is now. But it is a comedy, so we just take this as it is given here. Now Aegeon tells his story. What is that? 25 years or so. Maybe 20, somewhere it is mentioned as 20 and one where it is mentioned as 25. So you may take as 25 years before, Aegeon was traveling with his wife Emilia in a ship, and there his wife gave birth to twins. At the same time, there was another lady in that ship. She also gave birth to a twin. Now, Aegeon made a deal with the poor lady because the poor lady was in need of money. So he gave her money and in return she gave her newly born children, both of the children, to Aegeon. Now, in Aegeon's family, Aegeon himself, his wife Emilia, two sons already born and two of the new sons which they have got from the poor lady. So total they are now 6 members. So then the ship got wrecked. The family members got separated. Now in one part we have Agent, one son of his own and one son of that poor lady, 3 people. In the other part we have his wife Emilia, one son of their own and one of that poor lady. So they divided in 2 different groups. Now eventually their life got saved, and 20 years they remained separated, and still Agent is looking for his family members. So this is the tragic story of Agent. And when Duke listened to this story, he got moved by heart, and he decided that he will not give death punishment to Agent. Instead, he asked him that you have 24 hours, and within 24 hours he has to deposit 1000 marks. You can assume it is a currency or money. So 1000 marks he has to deposit. His life will be spared, otherwise he will be punished. So now Agent in the city, he is looking for his family members. So this is the background of the story. And what are the names? I told you about his wife Emilia. Now the name of both of the sons are the same, Antipholus or Antipholus. And this name of the slaves, their names are also identical, Dromio. So far we have Agent, and then the Duke Solimus, and then Antipholus. Now how we term these 2 heroes? Antipholus of Syracuse, that is already living with the father, and Dromio of Syracuse, that is also living with the father. On the other hand, we have Antipholus of Ephesus, that is living in Ephesus, and Dromio of Ephesus, he is also living there. And one more thing, Antipholus, he has a wife, and the name is Andriana. Antipholus of Ephesus, he has a wife. Dromio is serving as slave. Both of the Dromios are serving as slaves to their master, that is Antipholus. Now as Agent is searching for his wife and his son, the same way Antipholus, the son of that father from Syracuse, he is also wandering in the city Ephesus. So the whole of the action is taking place in the city Ephesus. So this is all the background, and now you see the real action, the confusing action of this play. We see on the stage Antipholus of Syracuse. He is there with his servant, that is Dromio, and he asks Dromio to go somewhere and deposit the money. And Dromio goes, Dromio of Syracuse. And then we see the appearance of Dromio of Ephesus, the other Dromio that appears and comes to him, because remember, not just their names are identical of these twins, even their faces are absolutely identical. So as Dromio of Syracuse goes to deposit the money, and then we see the appearance of Dromio of Ephesus. He comes and he talks to Antipholus of Syracuse. Now you see there is cross connection, and he asks Antipholus that his wife is waiting for him. The name of the wife is Andriana. The sister of the lady Andriana, the name is Luciana, and there is kitchen maid as well, that is Nell. She is also called as Luce. So these are 3 more characters, 3 female characters, which are already in the city Ephesus. So where we were, Dromio tells Antipholus that his wife is waiting for him for the dinner. Now Antipholus of Syracuse, he is unmarried. Antipholus, he is unmarried. How can there be his wife? and he thinks that his servant Dromio has gone mad, and that is not actually his servant, that is Dromio of Ephesus. Now Antipholus asks him that what about the money that he was supposed to deposit. Then Dromio thinks that his master has lost his wits, because Dromio has no idea about the money, because he is Dromio of Ephesus, not of Syracuse. Now after their talk, Dromio of Ephesus, he comes back home and he tells Andriana, the wife of Antipholus of Ephesus, he tells her that his master Antipholus has gone mad and he is saying that he has no wife. By this, Andriana suspects her husband. Then again in the next scene we see Dromio of Syracuse. He comes to his master again, that is Antipholus of Syracuse, and then he says that there is no issue related to the wife or dinner, because Antipholus was asking him why you were talking about the wife and dinner or so. Now Dromio, he was already somewhere for depositing the money, so he says that he has no idea about this talk. At this, Antipholus of Syracuse, AS, you may denote this name as AS, he beats DS, Dromio of Syracuse. So this is the short name that we can produce, or we can use I should say, so that it will be easier for us to term these characters easily. Then Andriana comes to the stage and there she meets Antipholus of Syracuse. So he is not her husband, but she considers him as her husband. So she meets AS and DS and she takes both of them with her to her home. And AS, Antipholus of Syracuse, he doubts whether she has some magical power or witchcraft sort of thing. On the other hand, Andriana feels that whether her husband is angry with her. Maybe he is annoyed with her. On the other hand, AS, Antipholus of Syracuse, is feeling that where he has come, because he has no wife, but why she is considering him her husband. Now, Andriana and her sister, they forcibly serve the food to these two characters, AS and DS, and they are actually so surprised what is happening to them. And both of these ladies, they do not allow them to go out. So both of these, the master Antipholus of Syracuse and Dromio of Syracuse, both are there in that house of Antipholus of Ephesus. So far we have seen the adventures, the acts of Antipholus of Syracuse and Dromio of Syracuse. Now, in another scene, we are introduced to Antipholus of Ephesus, AE, we take this name as, and Dromio of Ephesus, DE. Both are there with a goldsmith. The name is Angelo. And there is one more merchant, that is Balthazar. So now, AE, Antipholus of Ephesus, he requests this goldsmith and merchant that they should come to their house and dine with them, have a dinner with them. So they all reach their house. These four characters, AE, Antipholus of Ephesus, DE, Dromio of Ephesus, and that merchant and the goldsmith. But when they reach the house, the door is shut. Nobody open. AE tries a lot to get the door open, but nobody opens the door. At this, all these four men, they go somewhere else for the dinner, and actually they go to courtesan. Actually it is a prostitute, a lady. There they go for the dinner. Actually AE is in some relation or in some terms, in some friendly relationship with that prostitute. And one more thing happens when they were standing at the door. At that time, as someone knocks at the door, inside there was Dromio of Syracuse. And from the outside, someone is telling that, yes, open the door, I am Dromio. but inside the person says, no, I am Dromio. And that sort of a situation is created, and that creates more confusion among the characters, that the person who is outside the house and the same name, by the same name, the person is claiming that yes, I am inside the house. So Dromio at the both ends of the door. So then they leave, these four characters, Dromio of Ephesus, Antipholus of Ephesus, and then the merchant and goldsmith. They leave the situation. Next, inside the house, we have Antipholus of Syracuse, of the other city. He is there and he gets attracted towards Luciana. Luciana is the sister of Andriana. And what he tells her, so there is a quote, "Train me not, sweet mermaid, with thy knot, to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears." And she is flattered by his intentions, and she also worries whether the husband of her sister is having wrong intentions. And other character, Dromio of Syracuse, he also discovers that he has a wife. Actually, Nell. She is the wife of Dromio of Ephesus. Anyway, so now we have these two characters. They are stuck in the house, AS and DS. They are now planning to run away. How can they run away? Not just from this house, but also from this city. As they were supposed to leave, then comes Angelo. Remember Angelo the goldsmith? He comes to the house and he delivers a gold chain, as it was ordered by Antipholus of Ephesus. But now he is delivering this gold chain to Antipholus of Syracuse. Antipholus of Syracuse is confused why he is giving him that gold chain. Eventually he accepts that chain. Now in another scene, Antipholus of Ephesus, who was not allowed to enter the house throughout the night, he asked his servant Dromio of Ephesus to bring a rope so that he could beat his wife Andriana for keeping him away from the house the whole night. And now in the market, Angelo sees Antipholus of Ephesus, and he goes to him and asks for the payment of the gold chain. But Antipholus of Ephesus, he denies that he has not received the chain so far. Then Angelo gets him arrested, because Angelo feels that he has given him the chain and now he is denying to make the payment. So we see Antipholus of Ephesus is arrested. Now DS, Dromio of Syracuse, arrives and he sees Antipholus of Ephesus arrested, and he tells him about the ship, that he has arranged a ship, because remember AS and DS were supposed to leave this city, so they were looking for a ship. So he tells him that he has arranged a boat or ship. But instead this, we have AE, Antipholus of Ephesus. He scolds him for making that nonsense, because he is already inside the lockup, and asks him that he should bring some money from his wife Andriana to bail him out. Now at this, DS, Dromio of Syracuse, he gets confused, but he knows that last time they were in the same house, there his wife, so-called wife, Andriana, was there. Now in another scene at home, Luciana tells Andriana that the husband AS, actually he is AE for them, Antipholus of Ephesus, he was trying to woo her. He was looking to make love sort of things with her. Then DS comes, Dromio of Syracuse. He comes and tells them that Antipholus is arrested and he asks for money to bail him out. Now DS, Dromio of Syracuse, gets the money, but on the way he meets Antipholus of Syracuse, and he gives him the money for the bail. But he wonders why he is out, how he comes out of the jail without getting the bail, or how he is released. Now Antipholus of Syracuse, he scolds him and beats him, and he again says that you are making nonsense. What about the ship? You are now understanding that every time there is a character just making connection with the wrong character, the wrong duplicate character, I should say. Now in the next scene, courtesan, the lady, the prostitute, she sees Antipholus. According to her, he is AE, but actually he is AS. Where is Antipholus of Ephesus? He is in the jail. So she asked him that what about exchanging her ring with the gold chain, because that gold chain was promised to be given to courtesan. Now she is asking that please return me the gold chain. AS Antipholus of Syracuse, he refuses that he does not know her at all. Both of them flee. They just run away from the situation. Who? AS and DS. And then courtesan, the lady, goes to Andriana, and she informs Andriana that Antipholus, her husband Antipholus of Ephesus, he was dining with her in her home last night, and he has taken her ring away. Now in the another scene we see Dromio of Ephesus. He comes to Antipholus of Ephesus with a rope, and at this Antipholus is raised. Absolutely, he gets furious. Now Andriana, Lucian and courtesan, all these three ladies, they go to a Pinch doctor, or Dr. Pinch I should say, and they plan to do something exorcism, something like witchcraft sort of things, to cure her husband of madness. And one more thing, in her argument with courtesan, Andriana is saying that her husband was with her last night. Remember, AS was there, Antipholus of Syracuse, but courtesan was saying that Antipholus of Ephesus, he was with her. And one more thing, AE, Antipholus of Ephesus, he was bailed out from the jail and he was taken to the doctor by his wife Andriana. And then what we see on the stage, that AS and DS, Antipholus of Syracuse and Dromio of Syracuse, both they appear on the stage and they have sword in their hands and they are supposed to fight, and the other people just assume them as they are Antipholus of Ephesus and Dromio of Ephesus. So there is some sort of harsh words are exchanged between them. Then we see when these ladies, Andriana, Lucian and courtesan, arrive there on the stage, then AS and DS both flee. They just run away from the situation, Antipholus of Syracuse and Dromio of Syracuse, because they do not want to go to the same house again. And then we see a lady, a Bess, comes out, and she is told by Andriana that her husband has gone mad, and Abbess blames Andriana for it, and she says, Abbess, you will soon get to know that who she is. Abbess tells Andriana that her husband is mad because she did not allow her husband to enter the house last night. And then Duke Solinus appears on the stage as it is about 5 o'clock, because he is supposed to execute now Aegeon, because 24 hours are completed almost. And Andriana, she seeks some help from the Duke, as just recall the scene. Earlier, Antipholus of Syracuse and Dromio of Syracuse both were supposed to fight with the swords, but as they saw the ladies, they simply run away and they hide themselves in a house or so called as abbey, and they were not coming out. So now she wants that her husband and the servant they should come out of the house, and that is why the lady abbess, she was saying that her husband is no way interested in her or coming out. Then she seeks help from the duke. Then there comes a messenger on the stage, and he tells Andriana that Antipholus of Ephesus and Dromio of Ephesus, means the master and the servant, both has run away from the Dr. Pinch's custody, because earlier the wife has taken both of them to the doctor, but now they have run away from them. Now all this create another confusion, because one way the wife was considering that her husband has hidden himself in the abbey. On the other hand, she comes to know that her husband has run away from the doctor's custody. Now, then we see Antipholus of Ephesus and Dromio of Ephesus. They come on the stage and they ask for the justice against his wife, and also on the issue of the gold chain, because they want justice, and there are flurry of charges and counter charges are laid as well, because there is a complete mess on the stage. Antipholus is saying something against his wife. On the other hand, the wife is something against her husband. So there are charges and then the counter charges. And in the end, among the last scenes, we see Abbas is called on the stage. And then we see Aegeon. He goes to Antipholus of Ephesus. And Aegeon thinks that he is Antipholus of Syracuse, and he greets him happily. But A.E. Antipholus of Ephesus, he does not know him, as he has never seen his father. Remember, A.E. Antipholus of Ephesus is staying with his mother, not with father. Then Abbas enters the stage. And who is Abbas? Abbas is actually the wife of Aegeon, and her real name is Emilia. And then the husband, Aegeon, recognizes his wife, and as they both acknowledge each other, and then everything is sorted out, and everyone comes to know that this family has a twin. So there are two persons by the name Antipholus, and there are two servants by the name Dromio. So everything gets sorted out. And after this, Duke, he also gets so much pleased seeing that the settlement of the family, and he says that he does not want any money for the penalty. And then all these family members, they go inside the abbey and they celebrate or they enjoy the feast. So this is the story of the Comedy of Errors. I suppose you must be finding this story so much confusing. But one thing for sure, if you remember this story by the names, short names, because Antipholus, every time I repeat the name, it will be confusing. So just differentiate these two characters with the name like their cities. A.E. Antipholus of Ephesus and Antipholus of Syracuse. Same way D.S. and D.E. Dromio of Syracuse and Dromio of Ephesus. So this is the story of Comedy of Error. Again I say, if you see or if you feel any sort of confusion, of course there are a number of, but I would request you that you should go to YouTube and watch this movie Angur. Everything become surely crystal clear to you. And now, so far as the previous year questions are concerned, there haven't been any to the point question of or about this play. There have been questions in which there were the options by the name of this play, the Comedy of Errors, but the question wasn't based on this topic. And there have been questions related to the different type of comedies, like comedy of menace, comedy of humor, comedy of manner, comedy of action, We shall discuss all these elements in a different lesson. So thanks a lot for watching this lesson, and have a great day.